Hi there, thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Natasha. Welcome to my channel. This video is going to be how many times have I used each of my blushes. I have kept track of every single blush that I own, how many times I've used each. I'm not able to do that in every category. I haven't kept track of every single piece of makeup that I own, especially ones that I've had for a very long time before I started tracking. But for my blushes, I can give you a pretty full picture. I do have a couple blushes that I used up and talked about in How Long Does It Take to Use Up Makeup videos. I will link that series in the cards. I think I've talked about maybe 4 or 5 different blushes throughout that series, so if that's something you're interested in, definitely go check that out. I'm gonna list all of the blushes that I own right here, and I would like you to let me know in the comments what you think is my least used blush and which one do you think is my most used blush. I'm going to start with my least used blush and work my way up to most used. And the first one is actually my newest blush that I own, so I'm not surprised it's the least used. It's from my Ofra Snuggle Up Blush Highlighter Duo Compact. I'm pretty sure that the highlighter on this side is Star Island and the blush is called Bellini. And I've only used Bellini 4 times. I do think it's a really lovely color, especially for summertime. It's got a little bit of a peachy undertone. It is very hard pressed, so it's not the most pigmented blush that I own, so whenever I do use it I kind of have to dig a little bit and I have to be more precise so that I don't get too much highlighter on my brush. Lovely product, I think it's nice. I like all of the blushes that I own. I don't own any that I don't like, so really it's just because it's so new that I've used it so few times. I have 4 blushes that I have used 20 times each. I did kind of unofficially create that goal for myself last year where I tried to make sure that I used each of my blushes at least 20 times, so everything from now on is 20 plus. The first of the 4 blushes that I've only used 21 times are my blush from Becca in the shade Camelia. This is super gorgeous. It's a beautiful kind of satiny, like plummy color. Definitely unique in my collection. A lot of my stuff is either nude with a little bit of a brownie undertone, or they're more peachy. I do prefer peachy blushes. This is one of the few more pinky, slightly cool tone blushes that I own. It definitely has a place in my collection. I really like it, but it's definitely something that I wear with a purpose. It's not something that just goes with any look, and I have to be very light-handed with it. It's incredibly pigmented. I would be interested in maybe getting some more blushes from this brand because it is a really beautiful formula. I like that it has a little bit of a satiny finish to it. It makes it look very nice and lifelike on my cheeks. But I'm trying really hard not to go out and buy new blushes. I have so many already. It takes forever to use them up, and I'd rather give some love to the other blushes that I have. The next one is not technically a blush, it's an eyeshadow. You'll find that I do kind of repurpose some products to make them blushes if I want. I did that with the bronzer that I'll talk about later. This is from the brand Jordana. It's an eyeshadow in the shade Orange Shock, and this is a like shimmery metallic eyeshadow, but it's a bright orange. And this is an exact dupe for Taj Mahal by NARS. I had that blush, I really liked it, but when NARS decided not to be cruelty-free anymore, I searched for a dupe for it. I did swatch that blush and this eyeshadow side by side in a dupes video. It's pretty old. If I can find it, I'll link it in the cards or in the description box. And I swatched them side by side and they are exact dupes. This is gorgeous. Once again, not something that I wear every day, but it is super pretty. You wouldn't think that this kind of shade would look nice on my cheeks. I think that this definitely works for people with deeper skin tones better, but it does still really work and I really like it. It's a really beautiful color. And the next 2 blushes are from a duo. This is my only Cover FX duo that I have. It's in the shade Soft Peach. It has both a matte side and a shimmery side or satin side. I've used both of these sides individually 20 times. I definitely prefer the matte formula. I wouldn't say I have a specific preference for blush formulas. Sometimes I like glowy blushes, sometimes I like matte. It really depends on what my mood is. So I use these for different reasons and I enjoy them both equally. Beautiful peachy blushes, one of several peachy blushes that I own in my collection, but I really love the formula. When these go on super sale for like 40 or 50% off, I definitely recommend trying a shade that would work for you. I definitely want to try the bronzers in this formula. The next one is one of my oldest blushes and I kind of feel weird for how little I've worn it, given how much I love it and how much I talk about it. It's from Hard Candy. It's the Living Doll blush, and I probably should buy a new one because it seems like it's a little bit dry. It's a little bit harder to get product on my finger, but I probably just need to either scrape off the top layer or use a denser brush. I'm not sure. This is a lovely, lovely cool toned pink. It has a silver sheen to it, so that's very unique in my blush collection. I don't think that the hard candy blushes are talked about often enough. I really, really like this color in particular. Another blush that I've used 21 times is from PYT Beauty. This is the Heartbeat Cheek color in the shade Exhale, and this is another, I don't know, it's kind of neutral, but it leans a little bit more cool toned on my skin. This is like a mauve, light mauve blush. Super gorgeous. I just wore this in a current favorites video where I created like a mauve makeup look. I used this blush for that. It's a very subtle color, definitely one of the lightest, least pigmented blushes that I own, but I have a place for that in my collection. I don't always want a super flush look. Sometimes I want just a little hint of something, and I really love this for that. Beautiful formula. I think they only have like 1 or 2 other shades in their blush formula, so they should probably expand it because the formula is really nice, and I know you can get PYT at Ulta Beauty. A blush that I have used 22 times is from Essence, the Blush Up Ombre Powder Blush in the shade 10 Heat Wave. This one is ombre, so it's orange on one side and then it fades into a hot pink. This is beautiful. I don't think that they make this anymore. I bought this from the Essence website for like $1.99 quite a number of years ago, and I really enjoy it. I do sometimes forget to use it, and I probably should pull it out for summertime because it is nice to be able to focus on one side and get either more pink or more orange depending on what I want. I wouldn't say the formula is like the best formula I've ever tried, but it definitely does the job and it does last all day, and it is a really beautiful color, and I would like to reach for it more. I'd like to remember to do that. The next one is from Buxom. It's the Seychelles blush. I have used this 22 times. This is a beautiful color, a beautiful formula. If there were other colors in this line that worked for me, I would buy them, but none of the other colors seemed to be like something that I would wear often enough to warrant purchasing another one. But it's gorgeous. It has such a beautiful natural sheen. Something in the undertones in this just looks so nice on my cheeks. I can pile a lot of it on and it doesn't look like too much. I have a couple blushes like that in my collection where I can be really heavy-handed and it just adds to the flush without being too much. So that's fantastic. I love this especially in the summertime. The next one is very similar, and if you're looking for an affordable version of the Buxom blush, I would recommend trying this one first. It's another Essence blush. It's the Satin Touch blush in the shade Satin Love, and I've used this one 26 times. It has a very similar undertone, a very similar type of sheen to it to the Buxom one. I would say that they're pretty much as close as you can get to dupes. This one is like 20-something dollars and this one is $3. So just keep that in mind. Once again, one of those blushes that I can pile on for a really nice flush look without it being too pink or too unnatural on my skin. It's a lovely product, and actually Essence is one of the few brands where I own multiple blushes from that brand in particular. The next one is a discontinued blush that I wish they still made because I love it and I wish I could recommend it more. It's from Makeup Revolution and it's in the shade Beloved. This is a matte blush that I have used 35 times. This is incredibly pigmented, so you don't need a lot, but I love this in the summertime. It is so gorgeous, kind of like a neon shade. Also really nice as an eyeshadow as well, like in your crease. Of course, any of these would work as eyeshadows, but something about this, a little bit of like a peachy pink bright neon pop in the crease is really pretty. A couple times I've used it on the eyes, I've used it on my cheeks, and then I've also dabbed it on my lips to create more of like a monochromatic peachy look, and I really love it for that. Beautiful product. I wish that they still sold these because there was a more nude version of this that I would have loved to have picked up. Another blush that I've also used 35 times is from Urban Decay. It's the Beach Bronzer in the shade Sunkissed. This is technically a bronzer, but it is incredibly orange, so I can't use it as an actual bronzer, but I love it as a bronzy blush. Wonderful for when I'm going for a very colorful look and I want to add some flush to my cheeks without adding any more pink or any more color. It is a matte blush technically, but something about it isn't mattifying on my skin the way some matte blushes can be. I really enjoy using it as a blush, and I almost decluttered it as a bronzer. I'm glad I thought to repurpose it before I decluttered it. Now we're hitting the 50 plus club, and the first one is from Milani. It's my Luminoso blush. This is a cult favorite. I'm sure you hear about it all the time on YouTube. Gorgeous satiny, peachy color. I had the old formula, I gave it to a friend, and then I ended up missing it, so I purchased it again, but this is the new formula. Love it. I know that Milani sells some mini versions of their blushes and highlighters now, so I would like to get some more blushes from this formula, because how often do you go through an entire blush? So this one I've used 50 times. This is one that I would consider trying to hit pan on in the future, just because it's such a nice everyday color. I think it's very flattering on my skin tone, and there's a reason why you hear about the Milani blushes so much. They're fantastic. My next one is the Hourglass Incandescent Electra blush. This one I've used 61 times. It used to be domed on the top, but I can see it flattening just a little bit. Even so, I think this would take me forever to actually use up, which is good because I paid a lot of money for this. I think these are like almost $40 full price. I love that they're marbled. I love that they're infused with their ambient lighting powders. I think that makes it look really nice on the cheeks. This is what I'm wearing on my cheeks today in conjunction with two other blushes that I'll talk about in a second. I do want to purchase a couple other blushes from this line, but I just cannot justify it right now. I don't need them. I have to keep reminding myself that I don't need them. But there's one that's kind of like a nude color that I would consider getting, and maybe Ethereal Glow, because I think I hear Andrea Mattiano talk about that all the time. So I always go in and swatch these when I'm in stores, not that I've been in an actual Sephora or Ulta for a long time. It's one of those things like in the future maybe I'll pick up another one of these to treat myself, but for now I'm perfectly happy with the one that I have. My next one is from Charlotte Tilbury. It's the Love is the Drug shade, and part of me loves this color. I love the formula. I think it's pretty. I like that it has a deeper middle if I want to take it up a notch, add a little bit of like a really bright pop of pink to the apples of my cheeks. However, this can be really easy to overdo on my skin tone. It's just super pigmented. It does come off very dark and bright on my skin. So I think if I had thought about it more, I would have gone with a more nude color just so I could wear it more, because this is the most expensive blush that I own. I do love it still. I've worn it 75 times, so I mean, clearly I like it enough to wear it a lot. But looking back, spending so much money on a blush, I would have rather invested in a color that is more everyday, more appropriate for everyday. My second to last one I have used 137 times, and it is from Flower Beauty. It's in the shade Pinched. It's one of their blush bombs. I mixed this with my #1 used blush, which is Bubbly from Flower Beauty. I mix those together along with Lunch Money from ColourPop to create like a really nice shimmery pink mixture to use as a cream blush, and then I use a powder blush on top to get like as much blush as I can possibly get on my face. I might as well talk about these together. I think these are phenomenal. I think they're beautiful. I love the texture. I love that you can control the level of pigment. If you want a really light little amount, you can make it look really natural, or you can build it up. They have lots of different color options. They're like $10 a piece. It's a cruelty-free brand. I really like the formula, and I really like that drugstore brands are coming out with different versions of these. I think CoverGirl, Ulta, other brands have come out with affordable cream blushes, which I'm really happy to see. These ones are almost done. I don't know if I'll run out and repurchase them right away, just because it does take time to apply cream products. I think they're more time consuming than just regular powders. But they are really beautiful. I really like them a lot. So the Pinched shade I've used 137 times, and the Bubbly shade I've used 149 times. So those are the numbers of how many times I've used all of the blushes in my collection. Were you surprised by my results, or did that kind of make sense given how often I talk about these blushes and how long I've owned them? I've already done a video like this on my lip products, on my highlighters, on my eyeshadow palettes, and I do have a couple other categories that I can do it on in the future, so stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, that's everything I have. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys.